Marry me, Bella. You can't trust vampires. Trust me. I swear I will never fail you again.
You're wounding my ego, Bella. I just proposed to you and you think it's a joke. Bella, oh, come on. I'm only 18. Edward, well, I'm 110. It's time to settle down. Fuck you, asshole.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are
the NeuroNerds.
Yes, that was on time.
I feel pretty good about that.
NeuroNerds.
So it's October, and we're talking vampires. Well, not just vampires. We're talking, specifically vampires. So this being the scariest month of the year, we're going to talk to some horror stuff. We're going to talk specifically vampires because vampires are kind of awesome.
Yes, because I grew up loving vampires. Ugh, how dare you? All
right.
I have so many issues with that because I was so big into vampire and vampire lore, and Stephanie Meyer came in and added all this bullshit about vampires, including fucking sparkles.
Okay, so that's the one thing about Twilight that's always bothered me. That, of course, everything about Twilight kind of bothered me, but specifically, like, I remember watching some of it. My little sister liked Twilight for some reason because she's female and young. At the time.
Wow.
Hey, I'm not being sexist. I'm being actual and factual. So she made me watch a part and he's like, oh, I'm hideous. Oh, I'm hit. And he took off his shirt and then he started sparkling. And I'm like, dude, you're not hideous. You're gorgeous. It's like the coolest thing in the world.
No. How dare you?
No. What I'm saying is you're sparkling. It's terrible for a vampire. But he's like, oh, I'm so ugly. It's like, no, dude, that's awesome.
I'm glaring at Joe right now.
There are people who would pay money to have surgery to make them sparkle in the sunlight. And this dude's just doing it naturally. I was like, stop complaining that you're complain that this is a terrible vampire movie, but don't say you're ugly because the sparkles were beautiful. What? I'm not saying I liked it. I'm saying that the fact he was saying that he's hideous was ridiculous because you're not.
Let's just get one thing straight. Vampires do not sparkle.
No, and they don't go out in the sun unless you're the day walker.
Or you're a Dhampir.
A what?
Exactly.
I don't even know what that means. Are you going to nerd this? Bring it.
Hello?
Come on.
Have you met me?
Come on, bring in the nerd. What are we talking about?
Dhampirs have a couple there's different ideas of what a Dhampir is, but usually it's some sort of hybrid human vampire that has the ability to either walk through, as a quote unquote day walker. So Blade would technically be like a Dhampir. And so that's like the hybrid. It'd be half human, half vampire.
So like a vampire has sex with a regular people and then they spit out a daywalker?
Yes. And it would depend on, again, the vampire lore that is being employed for that universe on how that's how a child is conceived, whether it is a female vampire giving birth or if it's a female human giving birth. Or is there a difference between pure blood vampires? Can a vampire be born of two vampires? Can it not?
If it's not, I call them mud bloods. Oh wait, no, that's Harry Potter. My bad. So
there are vampires in Harry Potter.
Are there vampires in?
Yeah. Excuse me, Harry Potter fan.
I'm not okay. Felice is the huge Harry Potter nerd. I'm a fan. I enjoyed almost all of the movies. The second one was rough. It took me away for a year. But then Prince of Azkaban brought me back. I didn't know there was I don't remember them being vampires. But
they're in the lore. They're in the world.
Oh, there's also vampires in the Matrix. It's in the lore. Do you want to know how I know this?
How?
Here's my nerdum.
Okay, but who are the vampires? I want to know.
No, in the movie, not there. In the lore, there. Here's why. So after the Matrix, the second one? No, after the first one, they made a Matrix video game for PlayStation. And everybody knows Joe's a gamer.
Okay.
So I played the Matrix, which was awesome. You actually got to hack. It was weird. Anyways, the game was terrible. I played as Jada Pinkett, her Jada character. Pinkett? Yeah, she's horrible.
And I think her name was Niobe or Nairobi.
It was Niobe. That's right. And so do you remember her scene? She just went and she did something and then she showed up and she's like, I got it done. The video game basically extended that whole thing. The whole video game was based on her mission that she went with her pilot. I think his name was Ghost or something. Anyways,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what that was. And so there's levels in the game where they're partying with the Merovingian.
Yeah.
And like there's like a little club kind of thing.
Yeah, it's their version of the like kind of like an underworld because Persephone's there and stuff.
Exactly. So the clubs are filled with vampires and werewolves.
Oh, okay.
In the video game. So like in video game,
yeah.
I'm like kung fu kicking vampires and werewolves like through walls and stuff. It was actually pretty
Let's
amazing.
be real. There's only one good vampire club scene.
Oh,
And
the
that's from
beginning
Blade.
the beginning of Blade, which
Yes.
is perfect
Yes.
in any and all ways. So by far, probably Blade is my favorite vampire movie ever. There's other good ones, but Blade is perfect. Blade 2, really good.
Nope, I don't like Blade 2.
Blade
Or
2 was
3.
really good. 3 was terrible.
Yeah, well, 3 we don't count.
No. But it did have Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel, who I adore. I love Jessica Biel. She's awesome.
I don't care.
And she had like a bow and arrow.
I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh God.
She was Whistler's daughter. Come on.
Oh my God.
Wait, was she Whistler's daughter?
I don't know.
Granddaughter? I don't know. Anyway. But yeah. So like, but Blade 2 was awesome because it's Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great. And it had that dude. the main bad dude. I forget. Oh, he played the white he played the white dude. Do you remember Hellboy 2, The Golden Army?
Yes.
Do you remember the twins?
Yeah.
He played the dude.
Oh, Luke Goss?
Is that his name?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He played Prince Nuada.
Yes, he's that guy. That guy
love Luke
played
Goss.
like the vampire.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, that's true. You know what? That's all I really do remember now that I think about it, because I really did not like Blade 2.
It was really good.
I did
enjoyed
not
it.
like it. But now that I'm thinking about it, that's what I do remember
So,
about it is Luke Goss, because he's a beautiful man.
Who else was in Blade 2? Ron Perlman,
Yes, he
Hellboy
was.
himself,
Yes, he was.
as well as Donnie Yen, Ip Man.
Oh yeah.
Donnie Yen was
See,
amazing.
I kind of like blocked all this out. There's like a mental block, and I'm gonna say it's because I had a brain injury. I'm gonna employ, Joe's excuse, except I didn't have a stroke.
Hey, brain injury is a brain injury is a brain injury.
I know, right? Well, if I have to think about, so I'm like, when did I first see vampires? It was not Scooby-Doo. I didn't watch Scooby-Doo growing up.
Scooby-Doo.
We're gonna get charged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's it. That was like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
We're good.
So probably my first like real exposure to vampires was Buffy the TV series with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
So you can see the age gap between Lauren and myself.
There's a 2-year difference between the movie and the TV series.
That's true. 2 years makes a tremendous amount of difference. So your Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Sarah
is
Michelle Gellar.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. My Buffy the Vampire Slayer is Christy Swanson. Big difference. My Sarah Michelle Gellar had Pee Wee Herman in the movie with the most
You mean your
epic-
Buffy, not
my Buffy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
my-
I was like, ooh, you're Sarah Michelle Gellar. Yes.
No, I met her before. Not very nice. But anyways, so it had Pee Wee Herman have the most epic death scene ever.
Yes.
He had the most over the top in maybe the history of cinema. So my Buffy is Chris Swanson. She's perfect. I love her. Sarah Michelle Gellar was cool. I'm kind of fearing for my life right now because I'm getting the glare. You guys can't see it. It's frightening.
Well, and then that's what I grew up watching. So in my household, a lot of people thought like Buffy or Xena, like they were violent TV shows. So there was a thing.
Different time.
Yeah, right. Like those were violent TV shows. I was actually just watching Xena yesterday because they have it's on one of the, I think it's called El Rey TV.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I thought it was like a Spanish channel because it was El Rey, but it's like old like action stuff, action shows and action movies. But I was like, man, I was looking at my brother and I was like, they don't show cool TV shows like this anymore. He's like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, like cool fighting like with females and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, because all they want is Pretty Little Liars now. And I was like, oh, you're so right. Like we don't get that good, like, I don't know, like quality TV anymore.
That's true. Well, TV is different,
Yes.
especially like Netflix changed the way we watch TV. We don't watch a show and then a week later at the exact same time, watch the show the next episode.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the show came out. Let's watch it all this evening,
Yeah, I feel like kids today, kids today, right? Right. They don't,
those centennials,
right? They don't like understand how you had to plan your whole like week around like making sure you got home on time so you could finish your homework and eat dinner. And then that way you could watch your half hour or 1 hour.
Right.
Because if you missed it, you better have prayed that your parents had DVR which I grew up, I didn't have that. I didn't know what DVR was or the TiVo.
Right. That's right.
Right?
It made like a weird noise.
Or like you had to have your TV guide. So you
gosh.
right? Like it was the paper TV guide you bought at the supermarket to make sure like you knew or,
Yeah,
or
my
not
mom
buy
had
it.
a subscription. It
Yeah.
would come like, it was weird.
And that's so you could check the channel. Like that was the struggle then was like you had to make sure you were home on time. Like I had Taekwondo right before Buffy. So like I had to make sure like we finished Taekwondo and I was like, Mom, we gotta get home. We gotta get home. Because if you missed it, there was no YouTube.
I gotta knock this chick out right now because I need to see my stories.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't have novellas growing up, like traditional novellas in that sense. My novellas were Buffy and Xena.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you know what? That speaks volumes, Lauren.
I mean,
really does.
Are we really surprised?
Not at all. So
No.
like you didn't have to tell me that. I think I kind of felt it in my soul.
Yeah.
Like the entire time.
Yeah.
You're the perfect balance of those two shows. You really are.
One time I went to Six Flags and I got my caricature done.
Mhm.
And then they were like, oh, what do you want to look like? And they didn't, they had their examples and I was like, can you do a Buffy? He's like, sure. He just made one up. So I still have it. It's like this big and it's with me and I have this huge braid and he put steaks and a piece of, and a cross on me and a garlic. He's like, look, next, when Sarah Michelle Gellar is sick, they'll bring you in as Buffy. And I'm like, you're my new favorite person. I was like 10. I was like so ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, thank you.
That's awesome. The only thing you should have had him add that ring that Xena had. What's it called?
Chakram.
The chakram. Chakram?
Chakram.
You should have had the chakram in the picture. So you'd be the perfect balance between the two.
It was a very close decision between Buffy and Xena. But he said Xena would be too hard to draw.
You could have been
quickly.
Buffina. No, that just sounds like a horrible drag
What am I
queen.
going to be? Zuffy?
So you could have been Zuffy. You could have been Zuffy.
But back to Buffy. I think at least for 90s kids, because it came out, I think in 95 was the first, like the movie was 93 and then the TV show by Joss Whedon was 95. And that's where they really brought vampire lore to like mass media. Mm-hmm. Because before that we had Interview with the Vampire from Anne Rice. Oh, I actually liked the movie was great.
I enjoyed it. But like when I thought vampires, I'm like, oh, it's going to be, no, it wasn't dope. It was a good movie. I was too young to appreciate it.
What do you mean? I'm really confused. What do you mean?
I wanted like death. I wanted murder. I wanted blood.
Oh.
And then I saw it and I was like, what is this?
So that's very interesting. It has to do with the way vampire culture, vampires have been portrayed in media, books and comics and movies and how it's shifted throughout like history. Because so prior to Dracula, right?
Dracula. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Vampires were evil. They were just evil creatures. They were
from Transylvania.
Well, not just that.
Blood.
What if they were from? Because there's vampires in different cultures around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's no like set agreed upon like this is what a vampire is.
Right.
You have your typical reanimated corpse can be one. You have your blood sucking demons. You have hungry ghosts. You have
hungry ghosts.
Yeah, it comes from Chinese culture. There's vampire like.
No.
So like this big, but that's because there's no set upon like agreed around the world of what a vampire is.
So for me, a vampire, like you can't call yourself a vampire, like not that you would call yourself a vampire, but like a vampire isn't anything like it. There's certain things that has to be there.
Yes,
you have to suck blood.
Well, that's what hungry ghosts do.
Yeah, like you need to suck blood to live.
Yes.
You can't be in the sun. Right?
I know. You got to be careful with that.
To me, a vampire.
So what's Blade? Sorry, continue.
Well, but no, Blade's the perfect balance. He's the daywalker, and it makes sense. His mother was attacked while she was pregnant, so she was turning into a vampire while she gave birth to him. So he's half vampire, half human. He has.
There's also issues with that. But
he has all of the benefits of being a vampire and none of the deficits.
Except he needs blood.
That's what he does, but he's working on it. Okay. You know, like just like all of us, we're all works in progress.
Oh my God.
So garlic is another one. Like garlic hurts vampires for whatever reason. Religion hurts vampires for some reason.
Okay, so that goes back to the original type of vampire, which was evil. It was almost demonic, soulless being. Okay. Then you had a transition where vampires became, and so that's where like you get depictions of Nosferatu, right? Which are actual demonic things. They're hideous. They're
Nosferatu
ugly.
is the scariest looking vampire It's because it's skinny. It's like the skinny teeth and
you're not going to be seduced by that, right? But then you had Gothic horror come in. I believe it was in the 1800s. 1800s, and that's when you had Bram Stoker's Dracula, where it became there was a character around it. There was this mystery around a character. He was a count. He lived in some far off country, Transylvania, in Romania, and you had slight elements of romance, very little. The ships between Mina and Dracula are very unfounded, but that's what ended up happening. You had a shift in how vampires were portrayed, where instead of being these horrific demons of the night that were going to kill you, there was some sex appeal, right? And
that's weird.
And so nowadays vampires, the defining characteristic beyond, is no longer like evil, soulless things that will kill and murder you. It's now, I'm so beautiful and violent.
It's like, look how awesome I look without my shirt being buttoned.
Yes. And so even in like some of the like very violent vampire movies, they're all still beautiful. There's an etherealness to vampires, even as to our music producer's favorite version, which is Lost Boys. Ooh. I mean, you have Kiefer Sutherland on there. Like you have some.
I gotta tell you, he's a very attractive, tiny little man. Back in the day, Lost Boys was dope. It was actually really, really cool.
Yeah,
Lost Boys
Johnny Depp in that too?
Wait, was he? In he might have been.
Hang on, I'm googling.
So
that.
a vampire can't come in your house unless you invite him in. Those are the rules. So Lost Boys was dope. To me, there's all right. So let's.
You had Jason Patric, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman.
Oh, the Corey.
Kiefer Sutherland, Jamie Gertz, and Jamison Newland.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
That's the one who didn't make it. Oh, Jason Patric, Speed 2.
Yeah.
The best of the Speeds.
The first one was awesome.
No, I'm being facetious. Clearly.
Okay, just making sure. I was just making sure.
So comic book wise, my favorite vampire is Morbius.
From where?
He's a Spider-Man villain.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
dig this.
Okay,
so his name. There was issues with copyrights.
Okay.
Like you couldn't say the Living Dead. Stan Lee couldn't do Living Dead.
Oh, it's like how they can't say mutants.
Yes. So do you want to know how he got around it?
How did he?
Morbius is the living vampire. It makes no sense.
Oh, I mean, all right.
It sounds really cool, and you'll love this. It's being done. It's being turned into a movie.
I think we're going to say musical.
Starring Jared Leto.
Is it really?
Yes, and he is going to be a perfect Morbius.
Okay.
Because he kind of looks like a vampire, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think he sustains his life on blood. Like I think that's how he functions daily.
Okay.
He just sucks people's blood. He just seems like that kind of weird guy.
Okay, what else? So
have you ever seen oh my god, it was a dope ass movie. It was another vampire one, 30 Days of Night.
That was 30 Days of Night.
That was disturbing. That's not the one I'm thinking of though. Where like he with Ethan Hawke. I think it was Ethan Hawke, and he was like a vampire, and was Willem Dafoe in it. Man, I wish all of my neurons were connected, because I remember watching that movie and being like, this was so much better than I thought it was going to be. It was really interesting because like he had to.
Oh, it was up in the Arctic, right?
That was 30 Days of Night.
Oh, okay.
And this one, like the world's Daybreakers. Holy
Is that the one where they're producing like humans? They're draining, like farming them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really good. And then he figures out
Sam Neill's in that.
I don't remember.
Sam Neill's in that. He's
Sam
Neill. Yeah, I was like
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the best. And one of the shittiest horror movies ever, Event Horizon. Don't watch that.
I won't.
Don't. I watched that in the 90s when it came out with my friends. They were close to being not my friends after that. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting my time? I'm poor. I can't afford to go to a movie to see this trash. So that was a good movie. Daybreakers, one of my favorite movies, because he figured out how to become not a vampire.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to ruin it for you because you guys should go see it.
Okay.
Ooh.
So let's take it back a little. So some of the biggest names or the biggest ideas of vampire lore beyond Dracula, which really helped to solidify like what the rules are for vampires. So beyond the crucifix, because again, they are unholy, right? So this is why the crucifix or holy water would affect them. Beyond garlic, I don't remember the reasoning for garlic. I think it did have to do with the scent. I don't remember what. And beyond needing permission to enter one's home.
That's weird.
The other one is silver, right?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
and
silver.
that's why they couldn't. So everyone's like, oh,
Why-
and the mirrors, right? Everyone's like, oh, why can't they look at mirrors? Because
They have no reflection.
But it actually did not have to do with the fact that it's a mirror. Some people argue, and probably correctly so, that modern day mirrors, they would see a reflection of themselves.
Mhm.
Because the reason the original mirrors, they wouldn't see a reflection is because those were made of silver.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. So original mirrors.
Those are some expensive ass mirrors.
Yeah. That's how they used to make mirrors, was by using the silver. Nowadays, they use different chemicals. So that makes them more cost effective. But it also means vampires could check themselves out in it.
They'd be like, ooh, I look good. Oh, I'm shiny.
Well, duh. They'd be like, yes, I'm gorgeous. My name's young David Boreanaz. But some of the other, stuff about hallowed ground, there was some things, turning into gas forms, turning into bats or wolves.
Oh yeah, the bat thing.
Mhm.
And the wolves thing, that was always weird to me because I heard that like a vampire would turn into a wolf. Why would you turn into a wolf? Werewolves are a completely different thing.
They were not werewolves. So this is where there's no agreed upon vampire lore. Like they didn't have a convention in the 1800s and was like, okay, guys, this is what it is to be a vampire.
That would have been like an 1800s version of like Comic-Con.
Right, something like that. And so a lot of things fell out of fashion. Like I think the original Dracula turned into bats.
Yeah.
Right. But that hasn't really carried on besides the Count in Sesame Street, I think. Right. Like he was probably my first exposure to vampires was the Count. Betty. Yeah. I love that.
One bat. Two.
So, I'm not sure. And that's why like sometimes they'll be in some vampire lore and some they won't. There was also aspects of not being able to cross running water.
Really?
Yeah. So actually, I think that's how they beat Dracula back. Something about like so coffins were another thing. Not always.
Oh, they sleep in a coffin?
Yeah. So some lore require the coffins, like Anne Rice's vampires, right? But then like Buffy, like Angel doesn't need a coffin, right? So there's no like set rule other than they drink blood and or energy or something.
So Morbius, the living vampire, he needs plasma. Again, that's how they got away from the vampire thing. I don't need blood. I need plasma.
Which is a part of
blood. So yeah. My intro to vampires, I think, was Abbott and Costello. There was a Abbott and Costello with like Dracula. Do you know Abbott and Costello?
No.
There's kind of like, there was like the Three Stooges, and then there was like Abbott and Costello. They're like a duo. There's like
okay.
a little fat dude. Hey, Abbott.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The straight man, and like there was
he
a werewolf.
In, which movie was it that Robin Hood Men in Tights. It was like the 25th anniversary yesterday. So I love that movie.
They're men in tights. Tights. Oh God, I love that. But yeah, I think that was my intro. Scooby-Doo as well.
Okay.
Because everything revolves around cartoons with me. Mm-hmm. I don't know what other vampires I was introduced to. Bram Stoker's, and then again, I was too young for it.
Did you? So if you're a little, you might know this. There was also something called Vampire the Masquerade.
She was going to call me old, guys.
I didn't call him.
She was contemplating.
Do you know what Vampire the Masquerade
is? It sounds familiar, but I don't.
So Vampire the Masquerade, I think probably the easiest way for me to describe it, it's a role-playing game. Kind of think about as
my God.
D&D, but with vampires.
Oh, that makes it so much better.
Yeah. But that's where like they had ideas of like covens, because like you had all these different aspects of vampires that didn't make sense or like contradicted each other or like didn't get involved in certain stories. So it was like, okay, if you were Coven A, like your trait maybe was that you had control over animals, right? So you could control this or whatever. And you were Coven 35 or something like that. And you were like, oh, you guys are prevented from crossing over. Like, but that's how like people have tried to justify the differing lore. So it's like you had clans and covens and like stuff like that. So I played Vampire the Masquerade a little bit in high school.
Yeah, you did. Wait, in high school?
Yes.
Oh man, we really have lived so different a life.
He was a jock and I was a nerd.
All of my friends were nerds.
That's like saying, oh, one of my friends.
I'm not racist, guys. I have a black friend.
Exactly. All your friends. No, you were
really,
a jock.
I also dated the valedictorian.
No, but not during high school.
I didn't. That was after high school.
That doesn't count.
During high school, all of my close friends were all the kids that were on academic decathlon. And you would think their genius would rub off on me. No, my idiocy rubbed off on them. I don't know why.
As one of the nerds, I know that it doesn't go that way.
Yeah. But I love
We can't
nerds.
inspire jocks to be smart sometimes.
Look. You know I'm deep in nerdom. You know I love my nerds. Lauren, I love you. There's nobody nerdier ever. You literally just said, all right, so there's this game, right? It's like D&D, but it's like with vampires. It's like, no one has uttered that phrase maybe ever.
Guys, if any of you guys have heard of or played Vampire the Masquerade, please help me not feel so alone. I had the books, okay?
We still.
I can't even remember the name of my clan. I believe it started with an A. I was an assassin vampire. I cannot remember the name of the clan, though.
Oh, man, I know what clan I'm from. Ravenclaw.
You are not a Ravenclaw.
I'm absolutely a Ravenclaw.
You're a fucking Hufflepuff.
I'm not a Hufflepuff.
Yes, you are.
How? You actually, I know how. You sent me the
Do you
dope
really
video.
want me to like?
That chick was the worst, but she's amazing.
Yes.
I love her.
I'm a Slytherin. You are a Hufflepuff.
You're definitely a Slytherin.
Yes.
But a Ravenclaw, that's my Raven noise.
Just because you made that noise, you're obviously not a Ravenclaw.
Wait, where's my beanie? Oh, it's in the living room. So I have my Ravenclaw beanie.
Sweetheart, just because you wear the gear does not make you one.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Come on, I don't want to be Hufflepuff. It sounds so soft. I'm a big, strong man, Lauren.
No, you are soft.
That fears my co-host.
I was like, you are a marshmallow on the inside.
Oh, so I'm sweet and delicious.
This is
I
why
know.
you're a Hufflepuff. Raven, what's the number one trait of Ravenclaw?
Honestly, I have no idea. I just always thought Ravenclaw sounded dope.
No, it's because of how intellectually smart they are.
Oh, yeah, look who you're talking to. Like, let's get it. Come on, man. Come on. That's not the response I'm supposed to get.
Again, this is why you're in Hufflepuff.
Wait, are Hufflepuffs dumbasses?
No, but like they're not known for their intellectual prowess.
Am I not known for my intellectual prowess? Wow, it got really quiet really quickly.
Let's go back to vampires, okay? So once we're beyond that, so after Dracula and Nosferatu in the early 20th century, then we had this like resurgence of gothic horror or like romantic, and I use romantic not in the sense of romance, but in the genre of
like Interview with a Vampire and that bullshit.
So, excuse you. You're going to be offending a lot of vampire fans right now. So some of the most modern, I guess, influential vampire writers that have really affected the direction and the lore of vampires would, and like vampire mythology, Anne Rice is right up there.
Right.
She is right up there. And yes, she did. So of her book, she has, oh God, how many books are there? There might be 10.
A lot.
Yeah, there's
I'm going to go with
a
a lot.
There's quite a few quite a few books in the Vampire Chronicles. I cannot name them all. I like Anne Rice, but I'm not a huge fan myself. But of the movies, there was 2 of them that were made. Entry of the Vampire, she signed off on.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually, she first did not want Tom Cruise to play Lestat. Yeah. So she actually was very much against that when the studio.
Who did she want? Did she want like somebody in particular?
I can't remember who she did want.
She didn't want this tiny little man?
No, she actually vehemently protested.
This pocket-sized vampire?
Yeah, Tom Cruise to play Lestat. However, his performance blew her away that she actually apparently wrote him a letter of apology.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because he did such an amazing job. And Brad Pitt did a good job as
you want to know
Louis.
what I took away from Interview with a Vampire?
What?
Brad Pitt has chapped lips. Because they asked Kirsten Dunst, like, how was it kissing Brad Pitt? And she said, his lips were chapped. That's all I remember. She did an interview and she was like, it was weird kissing because he was like a grown-ass man. I'm like,
if I had the opportunity to edit this, I would be editing all that.
What?
Out.
The truth?
God. But see, this again, I'm trying to stay on topic here, guys.
That's absolutely on topic. It's about vampires and vampire lips that needed to be chapstick.
Anyways, then speaking of Kirsten Dunst, she did an amazing job as a vampire. That was amazing.
Yeah, she was great.
But they did, they were able to launch the idea of all these amazing practical and digital effects in that movie, especially for that time period, to show how they were going to show vampires and stuff like that. Like the idea of subsisting on rats and alligators, and that, it doesn't actually like quench or satisfy, but it can be used
to keep you alive,
life.
Basically.
What else? So then from there, probably the next biggest one, at least that I was reading, was the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series, which was pretty good. That one also has like 18 or 20 bucks. I stopped reading after book 14 because it got weird.
Holy shit.
I like to read.
That's great. No, it really is. Like I'm a little jealous sometimes because like I don't have that kind of focus into reading. I think it's great because again, I hear the same thing from readers.
Yes.
The amount of detail in the books.
Yes.
You can't get that in movies or shows, which is great.
It's so true.
But you know, I'm very visual. Like I'm a very visual person. Like I actually need to see it.
What about
and it makes
reading
sense.
and creating the pictures in your head?
Oh my God. You literally sound like every adult when I was a child. You sound like a teacher. You really do.
A teacher.
So what you do is you read and then you make it up in your head.
I
No.
literally, when I'm reading, what about you guys? So again, people read differently and they see different things.
Right.
I actually, when I'm reading, I can see a scene as if it was a movie, but not that I'm watching it outside of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's like like if the camera was there, I'm next to the camera watching everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's very cinematic.
Yes. That's
cool.
That's how I read and I write as well that way.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But we can move away from the written word. Okay. And let's go into modern like vampire movies.
All right. So obviously Blade is like the ish.
Blade.
Can I tell you what's a really, really good,
That's probably one of my most favorite movies.
Entertaining movie, and it had Dracula in it or vampires in it. Van Helsing. I loved Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing. I love that movie.
I mean, I liked it when it first came out, but none of that movie is accurate.
No, at all. But it was entertaining as well. Some of the things, like some of the lore, they live off of blood. Vampire. They can't be in the sun.
Some
Vampire.
of it, and Keanu Reeves is in that, wasn't he?
Wait, was he? No.
Yeah, wasn't he Jonathan Harker?
No.
Yeah.
In No. Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
No, Keanu Reeves was absolutely not in that.
Wait, who was Jonathan Harker then?
I have no.
Do you even know who that character is?
No, I don't. I know Igor was in it, and it was the dude who played Boromir in Lord of the Rings.
Wait, is this Keanu Reeves? It is Keanu Reeves.
In Van Helsing?
Yeah.
With the one.
It was Keanu Reeves.
No.
Yes.
Wait.
Come at me, bro.
Wait.
I know my vampire movies.
I literally have a Van Helsing cast. It's the one with Kate. No. Different movie. That's a completely different movie.
No, it's not. It's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Oh, it's Dracula.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, if Lauren could edit out anything, it would be this interaction right here.
It's all right. I'm not upset about that.
So Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Because Winona Ryder was. Wait.
She was. She was in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh yeah.
Keanu Reeves in that movie. Terrible. He was so bad. But he's Keanu Reeves. So it's like you look at him and you're like, oh, bless his heart. He's trying so hard to be an actor. Is before he found his legs. Yeah. I think if he did that movie today, he'd be much better. But he was still Ted from Bill and Ted's. Listen to this, guys.
Oh, do you want me to
yeah. Lauren's thirsty, so
I don't have any blood with me today.
No, actually, it's a can of effervescent blood. So Keanu Reeves was really good in it. Winona Ryder was amazing, but Keanu was like, he couldn't match up to the great acting around him. He was just out of his element, you know? Like he grew into himself. But I was talking about Van Helsing with Kate Beckinsale and Hugh Jackman.
And this horrific, whoever was playing Dracula in that movie where like he turned in and then he like turns into like this giant bat.
It was weird, but it was good.
It had nothing.
And there was werewolves. It was Igor. It was cool. It was one of the most fun movies I've been to that I went to see the theater. It was a fun movie.
Not.
It didn't have to be.
I was like 14 and I still didn't like it.
Yeah, but you were a different 14-year-old.
Okay, you're not wrong.
You weren't the typical 14-year-old.
Okay, you're not wrong.
so it was a mindless, fun night at the movies. That's what Van Helsing was.
So this is like a serious question. Mm-hmm. How are mindless movies fun?
They just are. All right. So every day you're so focused in on certain things. Sometimes you just want to turn your head off and just enjoy what's going on screen. That's why
fan fiction.
That's a reading. So that's why Michael Bay movies are so successful. It's mindless. It's like, I don't want to think about anything. Oh, wow. Huge explosion.
This is true.
Right? Oh, wow. Megan Fox is bending over again. So that's what that is. That's mindless fun. Transformers.
I'm going to give myself a stroke from how hard I'm rolling my eyes.
Hey, I don't enjoy those movies. I don't really enjoy Megan Fox. I like my woman built like women. She's built kind of like a tall tree. So that's what that is.
Moving on.
Mindless entertainment is great, especially for like me. I don't want to we'll get into that. We'll get into that some other time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Van Helsing is mindless entertainment.
Okay.
It's like, oh wow, that's cool.
Now,
that's interesting.
Now,
And
what about Dracula with Gary Oldman?
that was good. I love Gary Oldman. Everything that he does, I will watch. He's perfect in any and all ways. I like that. He had he was just good. He's so creepy as a person. So of course his Dracula would be creepy and like intense and frightening.
But seductive still.
I'd bang him.
Lovely.
No, so I met Gary Oldman once and I was actually afraid to say hi.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
You said this,
because, you know, he's the professional.
Yeah.
He's that dude. But like, he's like the sweetest human being. And it's weird because he was also, I don't know, Dracula is like top tier villains, right? Like if you had like a Mount Rushmore of bad guys, do you think Dracula would be on it? I think he would be on it, you know? Like he's one of the all-time most, like, there's been so many movies based on this horrible person. This is Dracula.
True.
He's not nice. There aren't those like awesome movies like that rom-com with Dracula.
Well, like think about this. Okay. With Dracula, who he's based on, do you know who Dracula is said to be based on?
Is it Eddie Murphy and Dracula Dead and Loving It? Oh no, Vampire in Brooklyn? No? It's not Eddie Murphy?
Like historically.
No, I don't.
So his name was Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler. I do know Vlad the Impaler. I didn't know he was based on Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah. So Vlad Tepes or Vlad the Impaler was some sort of ruler. I don't know if he was a lord. I can't remember his official title. So he ruled in Transylvania, and he was known for his brutality. Mm-hmm. And so the reason he was called Vlad the Impaler, I don't remember how many it was. It might have been 23,000 people. There was a force that was invading his land. Sorry, Keanu Reeves, go away. Vlad the Impaler. And so what he did, I don't want videos. I can't watch videos right now.
You can. It just wouldn't be very entertaining if people are actually listening.
I know, right? So the reason Dracula came up was because his name was Vlad Dracul.
Dracula.
No, Dracul.
Dracul.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it was Ottomans. Let's see. I think he killed the Ottomans, which was like okay at that time. Like it's okay.
Wait, like the thing that you put your feet on in the living room?
So basically I cannot find what it is, but so I'm just looking at a photo right here. You can look at the photo. So what he did, it was a huge number. I think it was in the thousands. And what he did is he had these posts erected in front of his castle, and he had every enemy soldier impaled onto these. So you could see it, you could smell it, these bodies rotting on there.
That would not be something I would want in my front yard, but I guess it would really keep away
invading forces.
Well, yeah.
Right?
And solicitors and, you know, nobody's going to try to sell you magazines to your castle.
Right?
With people impaled on the front. So there was a baseball player for the Montreal Expos and the California Angels.
Okay.
Named Vladimir Guerrero. Mm-hmm. His nickname was Vlad the Impaler. People took offense, so then they called him Vlad the Destroyer.
Yeah, I wanted the number. It was something ridiculous.
All right, I'm going to go with a lot.
Yeah.
Because you don't get that nickname when it's just like a handful of folk, you know?
Yeah, I really would. But I believe it was something ridiculous like 20,000, but I could be really wrong.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's where part of the inspiration for Dracula came from.
Oh, man. So
that's why Luke Evans' character in the newest Dracula.
I haven't seen it. It looked really cool, though.
Yeah, I would put it as like a solid B.
Yeah?
Solid
That's
B.
not bad.
No, it's not bad. Like there's been worse movies. Like, let's be real. There's been a lot worse.
The Mummy. Yeah.
Oh, the Tom Cruise one. I thought we were talking about Brendan Fraser.
Nope.
Okay.
This movie was
That
horrible.
has nothing to do with vampires, dude.
Well, no, they were doing the big world.
No, I know. But I'm like,
that the Dracula might have been part of that series of stuff, which was, I was like, I'm so in, but it was terrible.
Yes.
It was so awful. Oh God, now I'm angry. The hell of a way to close this out. This was the worst. So.
Oh, I wonder. I gotta Google this because I don't know. But are there vampires in Star Wars world?
No.
I gotta check.
I hope not. I bet you there's some kind of fan fiction, some Lauren type nerd out there who's gonna bring vampires into Star Wars. I hope not. No.
And it's canon.
It's not canon. That's it. I'm switching. I'm going to Star Trek, guys.
Oh my God. They're called Anzat.
Oh my
The
God.
Anzat?
Set phasers to stun.
Oh, the
Shows
Force
out.
vampire, formerly known as Jedi Knight Tel Angor, was the result of the Order of the Silver Jedi's experiments into creating a living symbol of the light side of the Force. Unfortunately, the experiments had the exact opposite. That's it. Rather than Angor drawing on the Force, he is freaking out right now over there. The dark side corrupted him completely, turning him into a hideous creature that fed on the Force itself. And indeed,
So he's like
needed
a
it to.
Force vampire?
That's what they called him, the Force vampire.
Ugh,
But
that's
then,
so
to
dumb.
make it worse, here's the official vampire. It said the Anzati are an alien race in the Star Wars universe inspired by vampires.
Ugh.
We invade all lore and mythology and culture.
I hate everything. Ugh. That's so gross.
Joe is so distraught.
I am. I don't think I can go on. On that note, we'll probably bringing this episode to a close. Joe being super disappointed that there's apparently vampires and start. You know what? I'm going to start a petition. I hope you guys follow me. I don't want vampires in the world of Star Wars.
I'm just sitting over here with a big old smile.
That is the biggest grin ever. You're like the Cheshire Cat right now.
Yes.
So I hope everybody is having an amazing October.
Yes. Be safe.
I've watched a scary movie every single night.
I don't.
This month, which is amazing, and I'm really looking forward to the new Halloween movie.
I can't wait for Hocus Pocus and Nightmare Before Christmas. Those are my movies.
And So I Married an Axe Murderer. It's kind of a horror movie, right?
No,
it is.
No.
Think about it. Like she's trying to kill them.
Hocus Pocus. I Married an Axe Murderer. Not quite equivalent.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
Perfect movie.
Yes.
Even though I hated it when
because you
first saw
can
it.
watch it both in October and in December.
You can, and you can go to Disneyland
Yes.
and go into what is it? The haunted house.
Yes.
Yes.
The French Quarter.
Oh, I miss Disneyland. So expensive.
I know.
That's why I go to Universal.
Funny. All right, guys. So again, thanks to Avid for sponsoring our episode.
We appreciate you, Avid, making us sound as amazing as we sound right now. Thank you to all the patrons on Patreon that help support our podcast. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. Stay tuned for more amazing stuff.
Also, who's your favorite vampire? Prove to me that you guys like vampires more than Joe. Joe sits over here and glares at me.
It's Blade or nothing, guys. Come on, let's be honest.
I like Blade too, but who has an obscure vampire reference?
Oh my gosh,
Please
that's a good one.
give me obscurity.
That's a good one. Somebody
love
out there
obscurity.
knows something more obscure than Lauren. That's going to take some digging. Because
Come at me with mythology, guys. I know there's vampires in Greek mythology and all the other ones. Come at me.
Yeah, but no more forced vampires. And on that sad note, NeuroNerds out.
NeuroNerds.